Hello everyone, welcome to this week's Weekly Crop, and this week we're talking about something that I did not want to like, but I do. Before I tell you what this is, let me tell you a little bit about the company that makes it. Now, it is Profoto. A lot of you are probably familiar with Profoto, but those of you who are not familiar, they are one of the world leaders in strobe and studio photography. All the biggest names likely use Profoto strobes. But if you are not one of the biggest names, if you are not a professional photographer, you may not have heard of them. And that's the market Profoto wants to go after. But specifically, they want to go after a segment of photography that is growing beyond anyone's imagination. Can you guess what it is? I'm sure you can. Mobile phone photography. Even my best friends who are full-time professional photographers shoot a ton on their mobile phones. I shoot on my mobile phone more than just about any other camera I have, because the camera you have with you is the one you're going to use. And they know this, and they want to be part of this new industry. Yes, you may decry the growth of Instagrammers and influencers and all of those types of things, but the reality is if I can give you a strobe that works with your mobile phone, you're likely going to make a lot better photos. You're going to be more invested in photography, and that also may lead you into more advanced photography. You might choose to all of a sudden buy a DSLR. So it's very smart on Profoto's level. So without further ado, what are these products, Dale, you are talking about? Well, they are basically two products, but they're one and the same effectively. It is the C1 Plus and the C1 strobe lights, and they basically sync up with your mobile phone through an app, and you can either trigger them with your finger on the button here or through your phone, and it brings strobe photography to your cell phone. When I was told about this, I thought it was a gimmick, and I kind of laughed at it, and I didn't think there was going to be a market for it. But then I tried it. So I've only had them for about an hour or two. Not a lot of time to do like an in-depth review to give you guys a full rounded thing. But in my hour or two with them, I was very, very surprised. So I'll tell you a little bit about sort of the good and bad with these as far as what I've seen the last couple hours of using them. The good is that they work reliably well. They are very, very powerful. The batteries last quite a long time. 2,000 shots you can get from a single unit, or if you use the continuous light, you can get about 40 minutes with the Plus and 30 minutes of continuous light on full power with the C1. Now, the Plus gives you basically everything you want, and these will sync with the DSLR if you have the Profoto Connect. So that's another device they came out with a few months ago. That's a trigger for your DSLR or your mirrorless device, and they will work with that. They also integrate perfectly with any of their A1 products. So if you've got any light modifiers or any sort of clamps and things with the A1, they will work seamlessly with the C1 Plus. The C1 Plus has basically a magnetic ring on it, just as the A1s do. So it pops on, you get a little light diffuser dome here that's really neat. Plus you get a whole host of gels. I've just got two here. I've just got a cyan and a magenta gel. They can snap together. They can snap on through that way, and then they can snap on like that. So you can just keep stacking them as you want. You can change a whole host of things in the app itself. You can control up to 3 devices. I've just got 2 here, and you can mix and match them between the C1 Plus and the C1. With your flash, if I go in here, I can control the individual power of my flash. With my continuous light, I can control the individual power of my continuous light. I can control my color temperature from daylight to tungsten. So this is a fully bicolor light. I can control the exposure within my camera, so I can customize it as I need or place it on auto. I can also control the individual white balance of my camera. So I can put on auto, or I can switch it to manual, and I can customize it however I see fit. Plus, there is a timer, which allows you to obviously just take a photo of yourself using the back camera, which is always going to be the better camera. What I did notice is that if I use the front-facing camera, obviously the camera is not quite as good, and the algorithm and all the data processing with that camera is not quite as good. So the photos kind of look like garbage. There's really no skin tone. It's just anecdotal. It's a bit of a novelty, to be perfectly honest. Now, in terms of operating system, I've got my iPhone XR here. It will support iPhone 7 and above with Android to come. There is no date scheduled for Android. They're working on it, as I'm told, but that's to come. But it works flawlessly on my iPhone. When I connected to it, it immediately found the devices. There was like no difficulty in pairing. It was super, super seamless. Actually, even more seamless than I expected it to be perfectly honest. Now, in terms of good and bad, good is they work flawlessly, they connect flawlessly, you can control power output separately, all the parameters you can control, making it a very, very creative tool. On the plus side, you've got a quarter 20 on the C1 Plus. On the downside, you have nothing to mount this guy. The C1 has no mounting options. It's basically meant to be a handheld device only. You know, you could probably figure some things out. Velcro, stick a magnet on this, but it has no quarter 20 on there, so keep that in mind. The dome on this is glued on, cannot be removed, whereas these guys have all the snap fixtures. So you can keep swapping out grids, gels, domes, as you need with this. So in terms of a fully functioning and multiple use device, the C1 Plus gives you a lot more, but also costs a lot more. The C1 Plus, for example, just what you see here is $679 Canadian. If you want a diffusion dome for it, that's an extra 79 bucks. Basically, any modifier is an extra $79. So that can add up pretty quick, especially just for smartphone photography. If you are an A1 shooter, as I mentioned, you can use your A1 modifiers. So that's great for A1 users. But if you're buying this stuff fresh, it's going to start to add up. The C1, by contrast, still not parsimonious in its price. It is $389, so almost $400 Canadian for this guy. And that's just for one. So if you want to have 2 or 3 lights, obviously this is going to put you well over the $1,000 mark. Here's Profoto's feeling in terms of why it costs what it does. They feel that, and this is, I wouldn't argue with this is likely agreed upon by the professional community, they make pretty much the best products out there. And sometimes you do pay for a name, but what you also pay for is extended warranties, like a 2-year warranty. You pay for great service. You pay for durability, having parts that are well researched and designed, parts that are really well built, that you can kind of beat them around a little bit and they'll take the abuse. You can maybe find a company that'll make something similar to this and cost maybe a quarter of the price, but might fall apart really quick. And it might not have any service. So if it doesn't work, there's really no one to call. There's really nothing you can do about it. So that's Profoto's pledge, is that when you pay for something like this, you get a product that is reliable, that is serviceable, and that they stand behind and they can fix or replace, especially within this 2-year warranty period. And that's pretty much it for this week, guys. Thank you so much for watching. If you want more information on these or any other Profoto devices that we have here in our store, of course, visit us at vistek.ca, come to one of our stores here in Canada, or give us a call. We'd love to chat with you about them. Until then, go out there, have some fun, happy influencing. I guess that's what we're calling it now.